So Johnny, thanks for allowing us into your home today.
No worries, thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you. It's a lovely place you got here.
Thank you.
How's your summer been so far?
Yeah, it's been good actually. It's been sort of a mix. We've obviously done quite a bit of work, and you never really switch off. Phone's always going and stuff like that. But I think it's important that you have a little bit of time to sort of wind down a little bit. It's a nice time to be able to spend some time with the family. Obviously get away because you don't get a chance to do that during the season. So yeah, I had a little golfing trip with my pals, and then just come back from a family holiday where I get time to spend like with my wife and my kids. So that's really valuable. But you've always got one eye on the work as well, so you never quite switch off.
Yeah. Is it hard to sort of break away from football?
Yeah, it is, because like this summer we've got a lot of work to do. Obviously ins and outs, and you have to be working. You have to be available on the phone, Zooms. Obviously when if you're in the country, making yourself available to go and meet players, agents, all that sort of stuff. So you never quite switch off. But I like to be present this time of year with the family. It's important because when the season's on, they don't get to see like that much of you, well, as much as they'd like, obviously, and obviously don't always get to see you in the best light either, because you're engrossed in the game. So it is a nice time of year to be able to switch off. But you get to a point now where I've had my holidays and you sort of just want to get back to work.
Is it nice to be Johnnie Jackson, the husband and the father, rather than Johnnie Jackson, the footballer?
Yeah, it is. It's good for the kids. You have to. I watched the Champions League game the other night, and all the players were speaking in their interviews about the role that their families have played in getting them to that part, and how sometimes like the families have to suffer and go through. Sometimes it's difficult for them because we're out there doing the work, but you're engrossed in it. You're not always there. Sometimes you miss birthdays. You're always working, and obviously the impact that has. Sometimes they don't see enough of you, or they don't see you in your best light, like I said. So I try and become probably a better husband and dad in the summer. I always try and be that, to be honest, but I suppose during the season you're not always there.
Don't think your wife's in earshot.
She's over there like giving me the look.
Would you say there's a big difference between playing and managing in terms of the pressures and how you sort of feel after games when you're coming back home?
Yeah, for me there is. I mean, I suppose every individual's different, but most of the people that I speak to, and certainly speaking for myself, sort of completely different. I think obviously when you're playing, you're in a team, you're 11 teammates, and you might play poorly yourself, but your team wins, and that can feel good, or you have the euphoria of scoring a goal. If your team gets beat, but you've played all right and scored, there's a little bit of solace in that. But I feel like when you're coaching and managing, you become more of a slave to the result, more defined by that, and finding yourself. For me, the highs and lows are much higher. When you win, it's a better feeling as a manager than it was as a player for me, but also the lows are worse. When you get beat, it's much worse. Like I say, like if you got beat as a player, but you'd played all right and you'd scored, you'd be gutted that you lost. Don't get me wrong, but you could live with that a little bit, But as a manager, you live and die by the result, don't you? And even if your team's played well and lost, you're down, you're gutted. So the best way for me to put it, in my experience, is the highs are higher, but the lows are lower than they was when I played.
I know you're really into your music, and obviously you play guitar.
Yeah.
Now and again, would you say?
Yeah, now and again, not as much as I'd like. Now and again, just because it's getting the time to do it, and like I say, when you're working, you come back, and obviously you want to spend time with your kids and things. It sort of takes a bit of a back seat, but this time of year, I get a little bit more time to sort of relax, get the guitar out, maybe half hour here and there every other day or something like that. It's good for me. It's a good way for me to relax, to switch off. Turn the phone off for half hour. That's everyone's got their different vices in it. That one helps me relax, and I enjoy it. It's been a hobby. I started playing when I was like a teenager, really. So always been into my music from a kid. Sort of like my dad was into his music, so sort of followed him in that regard. And yeah, I've always found it as a bit of a way to escape, really.
You got any other escapes? Golf?
Like, yeah, I'm a bit. I do like my golf, but I'm fair weather. You know, again, like during the season, I find it difficult to find the time to play. But this time of year, I always have a little trip at the end of the season. You know, a couple of days away golfing with my pals. It's good. You know, it's a good time to catch up with them. It's good to. I like golf. I'd like to be better than I was. Unfortunately, I'm not very good, but I enjoy it, and I'm a bit fair weather, so I only play if the sun's out, really.
Have you sort of had a chance to reflect on the season? I know, of course you did, but does it feel less raw now, and you can sort of look at it in a more analytical way?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, because you're not preparing for games, and during the season, you're always reflecting. You're looking back at the last game. You're looking at the next game coming, the opposition coming up. What did we do well? We spoke about it a lot, you know, in post-match and stuff like. You have to look at the good and bad of everything. But there's always a quick turnaround. The next game's coming, and you've got to have one eye on that. So it is nice just to have a little bit of breathing space to look back and look at, you know, what went well, what didn't. And I look back on it. There was a lot of good stuff. You know, we was a lot of debuts have come out of the thing, and you know, at times there were some real good highs. You know, especially sort of just before that Christmas period, and then there was a lot of lessons learned, a lot of you know, a lot of sort of harsh lessons, if you like. And again, we spoke about it a lot, that it's important that you do reflect and you say, right, you know, what could I have done better in those situations when they arise again? What will I do different? How am I going to structure my squad different? You know, all the things that there are moments when it weren't going so well, and you know you was hurting. Well, are you going to use that to your advantage now? That's sort of the way. That's the reflection that I've made, and obviously that's what's going into all the work that we're trying to do now as well.
Yeah, sticking on the subject of recruitment, it's obviously massive to what you want to do. 3 in the door really early. Jake Reeves, Omar Bugil, Josh Neufeld. What are they going to bring to the team, and what's you sort of thinking about bringing them in?
Well, I'm first of all delighted to get some work done early, because it's tough. You know, normally these things take a while. Players go away, they go on holiday, rightly so. You know, they've had tough seasons, they want to get away. Lads that are out of contract, they want to see what's out there for them. You know, normally their agents are testing the market and finding out what the deals are and playing people off against each other. So it can be really hard to get deals over the line early doors. So to get a Reevesy done as soon as we did, you know, fantastic. A lad. You asked me what did I see in him? Obviously, Wimbledon fans will know all about what we see in him. But you know, even more recent, you know, you got a lad there that's just got promoted at the level with Stevenage. A lad that knows the level inside out. He knows this football club inside out, and he's a really good footballer. You know, aside from that, he's a fantastic footballer that's got a lot of experience. So. It's obviously something that we're looking at, something that I felt that we lacked a little bit last year, especially in more difficult moments. You know, lads that have been there, done it, know what winning looks like and can see it through. You know, Bugle is Omar's another one who's got vast experience at the level. Someone that really caught my eye last season in the games against us and in the other games that I saw him play. Was really impressed, and I think he brings us something different to what we've got in that department. You know, in sort of Josh and Ali, we've got 2 sort of, you know, out and out runners that want to play on the top shoulder, more out and out centre forwards. Omar's a bit of a different, more physical, more of a target, someone who can drop in and play as a 10, and I just felt like he will complement those guys as well. So it's about filling the holes in the squad and what we haven't got. And Josh is a young, hungry lad who, you know, really wants to progress. He's, you know, out of contract now at Luton and wants to kick on, wants that next phase of his career, and he's really hungry to go to a club where he's going to be given a platform to go and kick on in his career, and obviously really keen to be part of a project. So we met with him, and I think he was really impressed by what we were saying, and obviously showed him the stadium and stuff like that he'd played in this season, and obviously really impressed with that, and we managed to convince him to sign. So delighted with those 3, and hopefully a few more to follow.
Any time soon, maybe, for a few more?
Yeah, hopefully. Like I say, it's difficult to get them done this early, but you know, we're in a lot of plate spinning, let's say, a lot of discussions with agents, and obviously I'm on the phone constantly to Craig, You know, we highlighted what we need, what we want, the areas of the squad that we feel like we need to improve on, and we're putting all that into practice. We'll get there, whether that happens this week, next week, or you know, inevitably some of the deals will go a bit later into the window. Maybe some of the loan deals that we do will happen a bit later. But what I'm really keen to get the squad together as soon as I can. Yeah. You know, to get back. Obviously, you know, if we went back to pre-season tomorrow, we'd have 3 new faces in the building, which is great because we didn't have that this time last year. But getting as many as we can in as early to get that squad together, so that you spend the whole of pre-season together as much as we can. That's the plan, really.
Yeah. And then probably the one that we don't speak too much about, departures. Any possible departures?
Yeah, I mean, obviously inevitable that will happen if you're looking to progress things and freshen things up, which we are. You know, you want to bring new faces in. Inevitably, people are going to have to leave. That's the nature of football. You know, we can't carry too big a squad. We've got to be sort of smart about, you know, how we spend our money. You know, and spending the budget really wisely. So, yeah, I mean, it's football, isn't it? Inevitably, people will move on. You know, some of our players might be courted by other teams as well. That hasn't happened yet, and hopefully it don't. But you know, you always have to have a plan for that as well.
You're looking to keep hold of Cheers and Aaron Pierre. What's the latest on them two?
Yeah, so you know, club we've made contract offers to them, and in talks with their representatives, and hopefully we can get something sorted. But like I say, yeah, players are always looking for like what's out there and the best thing possible, and hopefully they decide that Wimbledon's the best thing possible for them. But yeah, hopefully we can get that resolved quite soon.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we lost a few key players to injury at the back end of last season.
Yeah.
Ali, Harry Pell, Huss. Are they getting any closer?
Well, with their rehab, you mean?
Yes, with the rehab.
Yeah. So, yeah, they are. I mean, Harry Pell he had a little setback, didn't he? We was hoping to have him just before the end of the season. We got that little cameo, and then he had that setback. So, but it wasn't too bad, and all the guys are progressing really well with their rehab. They'll be ready for day one of pre-season, which is the important thing. So, unfortunately, they're probably not going to get as long a break as the others because they've been in doing their rehab and stuff. But then, obviously, in Pelly's case and Huss's case, they missed big chunks of football during the season, so I'm sure they'll be keen to, you know, to get their rehab boxed off and then be ready to join the group day one of pre-season, which they will be.
We've sold over 4,200 season tickets, which is only 200 off last season. What sort of message would you give to Wimbledon fans moving into the new campaign? Just that, you know, we are all looking ahead really positively. You know, we're keen to learn the lessons of last season. There was a lot of disappointment, obviously, and I spoke about it a lot, didn't I? About we needing to use that hurt as a springboard, and I think we've got that springboard now. You know, I think there's been a massive positive reaction to the signings that we've made. There'll be more coming. It's gonna, you know, the place is gonna have a real fresh feel about it, and. Yeah, we're delighted with the work that we've done so far. We're really positive about the work that we can do. We want to give them a team that they can be proud of, a team that get behind, and obviously we want to give them more to cheer about in this coming season. And you know, I always look back to those sort of the Leyton Orient night, the Stockport game at home. Like, I think there was a real team there. You know, there was the basis of a team there that they could get behind, and then. Obviously, we had setbacks, but I know if we had the right types in the right areas and build the way that we want to, and you know, we've got a clear vision about that you know, we're gonna give them a lot to shout about next season. And it's literally not an end of season thing in terms of planning for the next season. When, just giving fans a perspective, when did the planning actually start? Yeah, January really. So obviously, you know, Craig came in January. Jamie Johnson, who was previously helping me with the recruitment, he left, and Craig come in, and that happened quite late in the January window. So it's difficult for Craig to get his teeth into that window because things were already moving, and obviously we came out of that window in a tough spot, having lost some good players and lost some of the loanees that we had, and then the injuries came. So it was
it was Craig coming into a new situation. It was difficult for him at the end of the season, and he was keen to get his teeth in. And as soon as that window closed in January, it was like, right, what do we need in the next one? Let's try and finish as strong as we can, and then let's look to the next window, the summer window, which is obviously the crucial one of building a squad. And I think that's when you're going to have the biggest turnover in players. So it started back then. I've obviously been working really closely with Craig since he come in, and we built up a good relationship, good rapport. Obviously Terry helping me as well. So we've got a really close-knit team, and we're all on the same page as far as the vision that we want and how we see shaping the squad going forward.
Injuries became a bit of an unwanted buzzword for us.
Yeah.
Just give us an update on what we're looking at to rectify that sort of situation we experienced, so that we don't experience anything like that again. Obviously injuries are going to happen.
Yeah. Injuries are part of the game, but obviously you want to minimise it, and I'll try and as few as you possibly can, knowing that everyone's going to pick them up. But obviously the situation that we had was, it was too many. It was unprecedented, really. So we've had to look at, a lot of the reasons why, and it's not any one thing, but obviously, we've looked at the medical department and bringing in someone really experienced in that role to oversee that, and obviously I'll work closely with them and Chris in the sports science department to make sure that we're training in the right way to get the best out of the players. So we've looked at that, training regimes, obviously. I think a big part of it's going to be the recruitment and bringing in players that have got big history of having injuries, players that have played a lot of games in recent seasons and have got a history of being robust. I think we need to build up more robustness in our squad so that lads can play 90 minutes, they can play Saturday, Tuesday, and we're not having to make enforced changes in games, and we can try and minimise the risk of the injuries we're going to get. Of course they're going to happen, but I think in the last 2 seasons, looking back, obviously me being here last season, we had too many. Looking back at the season before, there was too many. So we have to look at the reasons why and try and put things in place, which we're doing. Obviously, like I say, medical department, looking at training regimes, and obviously the recruitments, the type of players that we're going to bring in.
Looking towards pre-season, heading out to Spain.
Yeah.
I know you've already been out there to see the facilities with Craig. What were your first impressions of them, and how beneficial do you think this trip's going to be for us?
Fantastic facilities, yeah. So me and Craig was out there last week, obviously doing a little recce of the hotel that we're going to stay at, which is first class, and met the guys there that are going to oversee that, and they was brilliant, couldn't do enough for us, and they'll really look after us. So players won't have any excuses as far as that. The training and playing facilities that we're going to have are fantastic. A new facility up at La Nucia is the football club that it's called, and got a lovely training facility there. Obviously we're going to have the fixture in their stadium as well, which is all on one site, so we're not going to want for anything. So it'll allow us to get some unbelievably good work in, 2-3 sessions a day, whether that's 2 pitch sessions. We've got all the gym and pool facilities that we need, so we're not going to want for anything. We'll get a great week of work in. We'll get a good fixture at the end of the week, and not only the work that you're going to get in, it's a time to get your group together. I found those weeks as a player invaluable, because inevitably there's going to be new teammates that you need to gel, and it's about getting that squad together, that camaraderie together as quick as possible. And I think being away from your families, away from the training ground, and together like 24/7 pretty much for a week, I think you can form really close bonds really quickly, along with the work that you're going to get in. So fantastic that the club have allowed us to do that.
That's an interesting perspective, because obviously you had that when you moved clubs.
Yeah.
Did you find it easy to settle in straight away to the dressing room? Did it take time?
Yeah, I did. I mean, everyone's different, is their personalities. I found it quite easy to gel, but I think those weeks, where you're forced to be around people, you're forced to, you're 3 meals a day, you're sat with your new teammates, you're getting to know each other really quickly. You're rooming with someone that you might never have met before, stuff like that. I think it allows you to get close quickly, and I think you form a real bond when you're working hard together as well. So when we're doing those training sessions and breathing out their backside, and at the end of the, they're all spurring each other on to get through the runs or whatever it is, because it's going to be hard out there. it's going to be hard work. But when you walk off the training pitch knowing that you've all put that in together, that brings a bit of unity as well. So like, you really can't replicate it. And obviously it breaks up the 6-week pre-season rather than being at the training ground all that time. You know, it breaks that up as well. So it's great that we're able to do that.
We've had a team of volunteers renovating the training ground. Have you got a little message for them and how excited are you about going back to a refreshed environment?
Yeah, I think that was important as well, that the place looks fresh. You know, I've had some ideas about that for a while, and you know, I've been pushing to get those through, and the club have really pulled through for me and helped with those. You know, sorting the kitchen, the canteen out at the training ground so that we can all eat on site. We can get the best nutrition into the lads, and that they're all together. And then obviously little bits and bobs with the changing rooms, the pitches, and we can't do that without people's help. But you know, one thing that this club always does is, you know, if help's needed, you pick the phone up and help's on hand, isn't it? And it's incredible, really, the way that people rally behind, and obviously that's what the football club's been. You know, that's the foundations. That's what it's been built on. And any time we've needed any help with anything like that down at the training ground, you know, people were there to help, and it's fantastic that everyone's obviously gone and played their part. And it will look fresher. It will be like for some of the lads, it will be new for some of the lads. Some of the lads, it will look like a new place. So I think that's important as well. That, you know, just if you can make little incremental changes here and there, I think it's just good that, you know, you're going back to something that looks a little bit different.
It's crazy to think that we're going to be back into work not too far away.
Yeah.
How much communication do you have with the players at this stage? Do you wait till you get them all together on the first day of pre-season to give a message to them, or is it?
Yeah, obviously as a group, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't address them as a group. Obviously, I've touched base with a lot of the lads, just like, you know, a little call here or a little message here, just to say, oh, everything's all right. How's your rehab going? How's your running going? Whatever it is, you know. Touch base with a few of them by message, and obviously, you know, the new lads, obviously met all the new lads, and but yeah, I won't address the group as a whole until we all come back together, and then we'll give obviously the clear messages of what we want, what we expect going forward, you know, what pre-season's going to look like, and let them know that it's going to be tough, but I'm sure they'll be expecting that, because they're never easy. But yeah, we're gonna get some really good hard work in, and when that first game comes around, obviously we don't know who that is yet. I'm looking forward to the fixtures coming out, but when that first game comes around, we'll be ready.
Would you like to start at home or away?
I'd rather be at home first game, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
And then just lastly, you know, Grimsby was the last time that we had a chat like this,
Yeah.
and sort of talked about hurt and suffering, and it can't be for nothing. How confident do you feel sitting in now with the work that's already gone in that we can have a much better season next season?
Yeah, I'm really confident. I'm really happy with the work that we've done. You know, I spoke about the structures that we've got in place. I feel like, obviously, this time last year I came into the job, and obviously the club had just been relegated, and a lot of the stuff that we've got in place behind the scenes now wasn't there. So, you know, obviously Craig coming in, helping with the recruitment and sorting out the training ground, the pitches, the squad that we've already got. You know, if you look at, we're going back day one of pre-season with, let's just look at the strikers, you know, with Josh, Ali and Omar, you know, three really good strikers. There's something to be excited about, and obviously, you know, the signings that we've made, that we spoke about, really positive about those. And obviously what I know, the work that we're doing to bring in more, and the ones that we're targeting, you know, if we can get the right ones, which I'm positive that we can, I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. So feeling really good, feeling really positive. Obviously, like I said, now just ready to get back to it now, get your teeth into it, and get the boys working.
Bring it on.
Yes, bring it on.
Thanks very much for your
Cheers,
time.
Chris. Thanks for coming, mate.
Nice one.